Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings call of KEI Industries Limited, hosted by Monarch Networth Capital Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anubhav Rawat from Monarch Networth Capital Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Malika. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. We are pleased to host the senior management team of KEI Industries, and today we have with us Mr. Anil Gupta, Chairman and Managing Director of the company, and Mr. Rajiv Gupta, CFO of the company. Let us start this call with management's initial comments about the results, and then we can take your questions. Over to you, Anil, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anil Gupta. Welcome to this conference call of KEI Industries. I'll give a brief about the result summary of Q1. You must have gone through the communication we have sent through our stock exchanges. So net sales in Q1 is rupees 1017 crore against 745 crore. So the growth achieved is 36.53 crore. Of course, it is because of the low base recorded last year because of the lockdown. But even this year also the sale has been impacted due to lockdown in the April, May, and especially in April and May because of the severe lockdowns in retail and various other states restricting production as well as movement of goods. However, EBITDA in this quarter is rupees 116.49 crore against 84.88 crore. So the growth in EBITDA is 37%. EBITDA over net sale margin is 11.45% against 11.39%. This is after giving the of changes in the inventory valuations in the same period previous year. The profit after tax this quarter is rupees 67.11 crore against 39.23 crore. So the growth in PAT is 71%. And the PAT oblique net sales has improved to 6.6% versus 5.26% last year. The domestic sale through institutional cable, institutional sale of HTLT as well as the dealer sales through the dealer network is practically increased by almost is doubled in this quarter compared to last year. However, the EHV sale has declined from 88 crore to 29 crore because some 75 crore worth of material could not be dispatched in the June because of the lockdown and restriction in movement, and hence the non-clearance from the utility about the dispatch. So it has been dispatched in July, and which will be reflected in the second quarter numbers. Export sale in this quarter is rupees 93 crore as against 183 crore. The decline is approximately 49%. It is due to mainly the large effect of sales to Dangote oil refinery in Nigeria during the last Q1 of last financial year. The sales to Dangote oil was 96 crore. So that sale is not there because that was a very large 450 crore order which has a very high base effect. The growth in this Q1 includes due to price increase by approximately 40 to 45%. Sales through our dealer network has grown by almost 108%, and So our focus remains on the improving our dealer network and retail sales pan-India basis. So the total active numbers of the dealers as on 30th June was 1,650. We are continuously strengthening our dealer network and inducted more than 150 salespeople across all branches to strengthen the retail and dealer network. The dealer sale has contributed 38% in the first quarter against last year of same period 25%. And the sale of EPC department is rupees 86 crore, which was 78 crore last year. So the growth is approximately 10%. We have already stated that we want to limit our EPC business to 500 crore a year, so that keeping in view the debtors and the cash flow issues. Out of the total sales of EPC, EPC sale is 27 crore as against 16 crore. The sale of stainless steel wire in this quarter is 48 crore against rupees 21 crore. So the growth is approximately 129% in the stainless steel wire business. As on today, as on 28 July, the pending orders are 3,022 crore. In this, EPC orders are 1,160 crore, extra high voltage cable 502 crore, domestic orders from domestic customers of cables 1,310 crore, and export orders are 50 crore. So the total is 3,022 crore. The company has received a credit rating from India Ratings and Research AA- for long-term bank facilities and A1+ for short-term bank facilities. The book value of the company per equity share is rupees 205 as on June 30th, as against 197 on 31st March 2021. Total borrowings, including channel finance, of rupees 128 crore as on 30th June is rupees 298 crore, and cash and bank balances of rupees 158 crore as against borrowings of 305 crore and cash and bank balances of rupees 221 crore as on 31st March. Acceptances, that means creditors against letter of credit, as on 30th June is 197 crore as against rupees 323 crore as on 31st March 2021. So the net debt including acceptance has reduced to rupees 336 crore as on 30th June as against rupees 408 crore as on 31st March 2021 and rupees 922 crore as on 31st March 2020. During this quarter, finance cost has decreased to rupees 11.42 crore against rupees 16.78 crore previous year same period. The percentage of financial charges on net sales has decreased this period to 1.12% on the sales from 2.25%. So practically reducing by 1.1% in this quarter. The company has used operating cash flows for cash purchases, resulting into reduction of trade payables acceptances substantially by rupees 126 crore, which has further reduced finance cost during this period. Though it may impact financial ratios like working capital cycle, return on capital employed, but it has benefited the company in the form of reduction in finance cost. Future outlook. As we communicated earlier, working capital of approximately rupees 150 crore is expected to be released during FY 2021-22 from EPC debtors from the retention money for the completed projects, which will be used for increased sale of cables and capex requirements in the current financial year. The company will be having sufficient cash flow to meet its working capital and growth requirements for the future. Company is at the transformation stage. We have engaged consultants for making strategies and policies for increasing our retail sales through the dealer network by approximately 35% per annum. To maintain this momentum sales growth, we have recruited 150 manpower at different levels in the marketing department in last 6 months. It is already evident from the first quarter results, and as the dealer business has grown by 100%, and it will be more apparent and seen in the subsequent quarter results. The capacity utilized during Q1, 66% in cable division, 43% in house wire division, and around 100% in stainless steel wire division. So the company has already placed, adding some differential capacity to achieve growth by next 2 years. By that time, the new capacity will also be available. Overall, company is targeting a growth of 18 to 20% in current financial year, and will do capex of around 600 to 700 crores from the internal accruals in next 4 years to maintain a CAGR of 17 to 18%, as against achieved CAGR of 15% during last 15 years. There will be a continuous focus of the company for improvement in sales of cables through dealer network as well as the institutional project sales. Continued focus of government on infrastructure projects. There is a substantial growth in the tunneling and ventilation projects across India, which are coming up in the highways as well as the railways all over India, particularly in the northeast states. Underground cabling projects of transmission and distribution in metro cities, Tier A and Tier B cities. Conversion of overhead cable and transmission and distribution lines in extra high voltage cable and HT cables. Modernization of metro rail projects and railway projects, including railway stations and platforms. Announcement of new airports, ports across India, and modernization of existing airports. Solar power projects will be the key in bringing sales. Nuclear power projects announced in various states by the central government. Oil and gas sector refinery expansion, fuel upgradation and capacity upgradation projects. Steel industry expansion, as well as the expansion in the general industrial projects, including cement. Other industrial projects, private capex across industries. We are focusing on our major export markets to Africa, Australia, Middle East, Sri Lanka, Latin America, and neighboring countries around India. So, it's a brief summary of the results. So I now request you to come out with any questions, whatever you may have, and we'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Naval Seth from Emkay Global Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, I have few questions. First, on some clarification. The delay in dispatches were 75 crores in EHV segment, as you stated, the same has been done in July. So this would be over and above your Q2 run rate. Am I correct?
Yes.
Second, I missed out the dealer number, what you stated during your initial remarks.
It is approximately 1,650.
So, sir, this was, as stated in the last earning call, it was 1,655. So, haven't...
सर वो थोड़ा बहुत नंबर्स क्या ऊपर नीचे कुछ डीलर बंद हो जाते हैं, बट अभी हमारा फोकस क्या हो रहा है कि वी आर स्ट्रेंथनिंग द नेटवर्क. सो व्हाट वी आर डूइंग इज वी आर जितने हमारे वीक कैंडिडेट्स हैं इन केस ऑफ डीलर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, सो वी आर रिप्लेसिंग विद देम with the new strong dealer distributor network. So that's why number is not increasing, but rather the network is increasing.
So is it fair to assume then your counter share will certainly move up substantially within?
Yes, that is, sir, already evident from the growth also.
Okay. And sir, your target of 20-25% growth on this number of 1,650 remains intact for the FY22.
Yeah, because as our consultant we have engaged, so the policy is first to not only focus on the increase in number of dealer distributor, rather the replace of the weak dealer distributor with the strong candidate. So number is not the matter, but the counter share per capita should increase.
And is that exercise done with where you have already replaced, or it is still ongoing?
No, it is still ongoing.
Okay. Understood. In terms of, can you provide breakup for value and volume in your house wire segment?
In house wire segment, you see the product wise you can note down in the Q1.
Yeah.
Like low tension power cable is 389 crore.
No, sir, I have that breakup from your presentation. Just from the number what you have reported in house wires. In terms of growth, can you bifurcate that 77% into value and volume that way?
In value terms, in the houseware segment, the growth is close to 20%.
Okay. And has there been further price increases in July?
No. There is no price increase in July.
Because copper is stable.
Understood. And lastly, on retention money, although you have stated in your initial remarks 150 crores, there was some payment which was expected in 1Q also from government. So have we received that? Or
proportionately it is coming. The 150 crore for the whole year figure, which the additional money we have to receive to reduce the data. So the proportionately every month it is coming.
Understood. Thank you and all the best. I will come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Agarwal from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I had 3 quick questions. Any updates on the greenfield facility? वो गुजरात में हम कुछ कर रहे थे, कुछ आगे बढ़ा वहाँ पे?
Yeah, land is identified and we are now doing the due diligence process, the legal process. So I think it should come through by September.
This is happening in Gujarat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And second question on the demand side, so into 2 parts, basically on the cable side. Within cables, could you give some understanding on different types of cables? How is the demand panning out? Like which segment is driving which type of cable within cables? And similarly on the wire side, is housing wire is purely related to housing, or is it you're seeing some kind of private and public capex driving it as well? Just these 2 questions, please.
It's both ways. In the wire segment, it is driven by the house wire also, which is sold to real estate projects, but also the wire which are being sold to various building projects, which is done by for hospitals, hotels, etc., which is done by company CPWD projects or government projects where they are making military accommodations, etc. So it is wherever lights are there, whether it is in the government projects or in the private private market real estate projects. And this entire business is driven by the dealers. We do not sell anything directly. So far as cables are concerned, the demand is across the high tension, low tension cables, as well as all category of cables, and also the extra high voltage cables. So the demand is proportionately growing in all the segments.
So nothing one above the other, right? And within the cables, like no particular segment is actually doing better than the other?
No. All are doing growing in a similar fashion.
Because wire and cable goes in the basket, na? Because the power transmitted through the step down mode.
Yeah, got it. And one last thing, if you would help me recollect, overall government top line contribution for the company, how much would that be? And when I say government, it could include public sector, I mean any entity.
You see, the direct to the state electricity board, we are not dealing in the cable segment. Only extra high voltage and EPC we are dealing with the state electricity board. So in the cable direct sale is almost nil to the state electricity board. But the PSUs etc. So as a whole, the power sector we are selling whether directly or indirectly close to 30 to 33%.
Okay. Got it. Thank you so much, sir. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mihir Manohar from Jefferies India. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. Sir, I wanted to get the interest cost split for the quarter.
Interest cost, you can note down in the just a minute. Yeah, the term loan interest in this quarter is only 0.58 lakhs and working capital interest is close to 3.73 lakhs. Sorry, 3.73 crores. And interest on LC is 0.48 crore, bank charges is 0.28 crore, bank charges on bank guarantee is 5 crore and bank charge others is 1.31 crore. Bank charge on bank guarantee is 5 crore because of we got one large order of the EPC
400 crore.
Yeah, 400
from Gambia. It is a World Bank aided project, and so we had to give a performance bank guarantee and advance bank guarantee, and entire bank guarantee charges for next 3 years has been taken by the bank in this quarter.
Okay,
so the total is 11.4 crore.
Okay, yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Amit Mahavir from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Congratulations on a great set of numbers. I have 2 specific questions. First is, typically last, 10-15 years of, our growth, if one looks at the industry consolidation, right now, we have by far the best opportunity in retail house wire. So what are some of the steps that we will take to ensure that the bulk of market share shift that is happening from weaker players to say top 4-5 players in house wires come to us? That's the first question. Yeah.
See, to do that, basic efforts is on the marketing front and creating a brand value. So we have taken all the requisite measures in terms of first inducting and increasing the team, then making strategies of how to go to the market to add trade retailers in the trade segment. Thirdly, to reach out pan-India, the branding exercise in terms of advertising and also the below-the-line activities, which is the schemes through the retailers and electrician connects. So all these actions we have already taken and results will be visible in quarter after quarter in next 3 to 4 quarters.
Okay. Anil, any change in ad spend and marketing strategy that we are looking at from the next 1 to 2 years perspective vis-a-vis what we've been doing this far in terms of numbers, if you can share?
The marketing strategy is only through improving the connect with the influencers like electricians or retailers. And so far as ad spend is there, ad spend will be almost the same, like around close to 25 crore in the whole year. We are aggressively doing advertising on the TV channels, and also we are continuously taking properties in IPL by upper chest branding with the Rajasthan Royals. So that is a good visibility because I think entire country sees the cricket, and advertising we are doing in the TV, not only on Hindi channels but also pan India in different language channels in South India, in Western India as well as Eastern India.
Yeah. So, thanks, Anil. Second question maybe for Rajiv ji. Rajiv sir, what is the balance sheet strategy this year? How much of debt are you targeting to cut in FY 22 and 23? And if you can help us with the numeric reach in wires, like what is the total, maybe percentage reach of KEI in wires pan India vis-a-vis the total sample size we have broadly? Thank you.
Amit ji, as you are saying that every quarter we are reducing the debt, whether it is acceptances or the debt. So it is a ongoing process of every quarter. And by next year, hopefully, except the channel financing, there will not be any debt. Because already if you see the balance sheet, which we have already given, the debt portion is very, very less. So by next year, it will be almost zero. But the channel finance will be there because that is practically it is not the borrowing for us, but it has to shown as per India's requirement. As far as the wire is concerned, this year our target to sell the wire is basically the 2x program is going on. And every year basis, the house wire sale will grow more than 50-60% from here onward also. But this year our commitment to grow the house wire sale.
I'm sorry, sir. I think I missed you. In commitment, you were saying something. I think there was a noise.
I'm saying that the house wire, what Anil ji was telling you about the retail strategy. So he has taken this for this current financial year to grow by 100% in the current financial year. And in the future, next 2 to 3 years time, the house wire business will grow more than 50-60% year-on-year basis.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amit ji.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shivari Doshi from Trivikram Consultants. Please go ahead.
So thanks for taking my question. So my question was regarding the EHV cable side. So I understand there was some delay in order of around 75 crores. So even if I add that back, the overall revenue seems to be around 100 crores. So what's the trend? Because I'm just trying to understand the trend in EHV cables, which is a little difficult to predict. So is this a run rate that we're looking at per quarter, or it will be a little more after, say, 2-3 quarters down the line?
Madam, we are doing our capacity of extra high voltage power cable is around 475 crore rupees around. So in a year, we will do this kind of turnover. Last year also we did around 418 crore. So on a whole year basis, we will do around 450 crore worth of business from extra high voltage power cable. This 75 crore is already the material was produced. It is only the matter where the inspection was done, but the clearances was not done. So that's why this material was not moved in that quarter. But ultimately, on a whole year basis, whatever we have projected for extra high voltage power cable, that will be met. And whatever sales turnover we have projected for the current financial year, almost as a whole, we are going to grow more than 20%. So that we will be maintaining.
Okay, so you just mentioned 450 crore from EHV cable for FY22, right?
Yes.
Okay. And my next question is regarding the margins. So if I look at, say, 4 quarters margins, we have been able to maintain around 11.1 to 11.7. So is that the range we should look at for the whole year, say 11 to 11.5%? And even if you could mention about FY23 as well.
Yeah, 11% plus margin will be there for whole year.
For the whole year, and the similar for FY23 as well.
Yeah, in future the margin will further grow because once the top line will grow, because at present the capacity utilization in the cable is 6%. So once this capacity utilization will be utilizing more, then operating profit percentage also will grow.
Right. So this is for FY23, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question.
पेपर कर रहेगा ना. Hello, please go ahead.
The next question is from the line of Balaji Vaidyanath from NAFA Asset Management Company. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. I have 2 broad questions. Just wanted to understand the thought process of the company in terms of, the opportunity in especially the developed markets, where we are seeing a combination of renewable plus electric vehicles, and also, increasing, capacity addition by offshore wind, etc., where we are given to understand that, more cables are required. So from the point of view of exports, are you looking at only, Africa, Australia, etc., or are you also looking for, towards developed countries, especially in Europe, US, etc.?
See, we are definitely looking for developed countries. We have already obtained UL approval, which enables us to export to USA for certain category of cables, and certain more category of cables. UL approval is underway. So it will take this whole year again to develop to finalize the UL approval for a broad amount of categories of cables, which will help us in exporting to US. So far as offshore wind cables are concerned, they are typically submarine cables, and important requirement in that is to set up a factory near the seaport or a river port where we can wound the cable directly on the ships and take it inside the sea, where the wind farms are located at least 10 kilometers inside the sea. At the moment, we don't have that facility, and but as the demand comes up in a big way, we'll definitely look into that.
And this capex that you mentioned of about 600 crores, that would be broadly into which product category that you'll be doing the capex for?
It will be mainly to produce and enhance the capacity of high tension, low tension cables, as well as the extra high voltage cables.
Okay. Sir, just wanted to understand, in India, if you're talking about, for example, a 1,000 megawatt solar power project versus 1,000 megawatt coal power project, what is the difference in the cable requirement between a typical 1,000 megawatt solar project and a 1,000 megawatt coal project, sir?
In 1,000 megawatt solar projects, the requirement of cable is very high. The cable requirement is mainly of 33 kV cables, which is used to evacuate the power from the solar project and integrate it with the transmission grid. In case of thermal power, mostly thermal power evacuation system through overhead network, which is overhead conductor network. So, but in case of solar cables, it is mostly through 33 kV cables, and so hence the cable requirement in case of solar power projects is much higher. At least I will say 3 to 4 times higher than the thermal power projects.
And so we have, in this particular area, do we have any product gaps on the solar side, or we are present?
No, we don't have any product gaps.
We are manufacturing all range of cables.
All range of cables.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Manoj Gori from Equirus Securities. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. So my first question would be follow-up to exports, what you just highlighted. So what are the things that we are targeting to achieve strong growth from export markets? Because obviously a lot of players have been talking about export opportunity. Can you throw some light on that?
Sir, we are our predominant markets of export at the moment is Australia, Middle East, and Africa. In Africa, most countries are under slowdown this year, so the opportunities are limited. Middle East, the opportunities are strong, and we are working on various new coming up oil and gas projects, and we'll see that how much opportunities I can't quantify at the moment how much opportunities we'll get. However, in Australia, we are seeing a very strong demand from solar and wind projects, especially solar projects, and our exports to Australia are continuously growing. Even this year will grow significantly by 50 to 60% compared to last year. So other markets like SAARC countries around India, we had done very good exports in 1920, but this year the opportunities are limited because of the financial health of and the economy slowdown in these countries.
Right, sir. So talking about your long-term guidance of roughly around 17 to 18% growth, so can you just highlight what would be the contribution at that point of time, probably 4 years down the line, from the B2C business or from the exports? Just some color on that.
50%.
See, B2C business, we are aiming to achieve at least 50% market share of our business coming from B2C in next 3 to 4 years, and exports will be close to around 12 to 15%. Rest will be the institutional cable market.
Right, sir. So one last question. If I'm not wrong, in the previous call, Mr. Rajiv did highlighted 17 to 18% the yearly guidance that we have been giving on top line. So if I'm not wrong, there was some assumption that copper prices may go down, and if they remain at the current levels, then obviously guidance would be revised upwards. Any indication on that given that we are sitting in August and copper prices are very firm?
At the moment, we don't see too much upside on the copper prices because copper prices have already risen too much. It has risen by around 60-65% in last 1 year. So there is a limit. So I don't see too much of upside on that.
But Manojji, actually, whatever we guided to grow by 20%, in spite of that, the pandemic was there, and the third wave we are listening, and still few states are not opening. So with all the restrictions, etc., everything, we will still grow at least by 20%, and whatever more will be there. That is for sure, because we have the capacity available.
Right, sir. That's very assuring. Thanks a lot, sir, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press *1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Srinidhi Karlekar from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on great set of numbers. So just a couple of questions from my end. So pricings have gone substantially increased because of commodity costs. In that regard, sir, I just want to know, is it fair to say that in your dealer and distribution business, most of your organized peers have taken similar prices increases? And post these increases, KEI's pricing versus some of its peers is what you continue to is at the desired level?
Yes, price increase is directly related to the price increase of the raw material. So it is in the same proportionate everybody is increasing, because we always say that we are having a mechanism of the pass-through mechanism. So every month, whether it is twice a month or once a month, the price is revises depending on the copper prices movement.
Yes, sir, and that still holds up, right? Even these round of changes of substantial increase in commodity cost, those formulas are still intact, and the pricing decisions are
it
still.
will be intact. Yeah, in future also it will be intact, because nobody can absorb the copper prices.
Great, sir. And sir, same can be said about your institutional business as well, right? So there, because isn't. Yeah. Okay.
In the institutional business, whenever we quote the new tender, we always quote at the prevailing price in the market. Whatever order we are having 2-3 months, we are having 2-3 months inventory also. So it is under the natural hedge.
Yeah. Great. And sir, even if it is a substantial increase that you expect institutional business compared to what inventory you have, you will have a hedging policy, right? So there won't be a negative surprise because your institutional business feels like a tender business going up. So there's no negative surprise because of rising commodity costs, right? You will hedge according to that, right?
In the last 15 years, you have seen the balance sheet. These kind of fluctuations are there. But in the case of the operating margin, these fluctuations are not there, because of the simple rule that we are working on a pass-through mechanism.
Right, sir. Yeah. And sir, last question from mine. There's a dip in channel finance debt, largely similar to the decline that we saw in your consumer wire business. So that's how we should be reading it. Nothing to do with accounting changes, right? Wherein non-recourse debt you are getting, and that's why you don't have to report that channel finance debt?
Slowly, whatever channel finance we were having, earlier it was having 100% recourse. Now few of the bank has reduced to the 50%, and we are still trying with few banks that the recourse will be 25%. So by end of the March, this debt will also go down from the books.
Okay, great, sir. Thank you for answering my question, and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Balaji Vaidyanath from NAFA Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Sir, just a quick follow-up on the question that I asked regarding solar versus thermal. Sir, in the last 15 years, you've grown by about 15% CAGR, which you mentioned, and you're guiding for growth in the coming years as well. So, just trying to understand that if the incremental capacity addition is happening more on the renewable side. So, and considering the cable requirement for renewable, ideally, shouldn't your solar project related growth be much more than even the FMEG growth?
Yes, definitely the growth due to solar projects will be much more in wires and cables, and it will be reflected in the results of the most companies. So I don't say that FMEG will not grow, because ultimately incomes are growing, and people are looking for fast moving electrical goods. More and more people are coming into that category who can afford the consumer durables and other things, and the better housing. So that category will also keep growing.
But this 17% kind of growth levels that you are kind of broadly guiding, is there a chance for more upside considering the more renewable thrust by the country?
You see, in the last 5 years, we have grown more than 20%. In last 15 years, the CAGR is 15%, where the 2009 is also there, and other tough time was also there, like 2011 to 13. But if you talk of this, the previous 5 years, we have grown by almost 20%.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, Bala.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Poddar from Anand Rathi Research. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and congratulations on steady performance. One question on your financials. So you mentioned that you have restated FY21 numbers on some changes in accounting policy regarding valuation of inventory. So will that also help in our margins going forward, or even in Q1, was there any positive impact on that?
नहीं, इसमें margin का कोई impact नहीं है, because earlier we were having the FIFO method. Since the ERP is not supporting the FIFO, so that's why the weighted average method we have adopted, and the industry peer group also is doing through ERP system the weighted average method of the inventory. So total impact in the balance sheet was in the last year. If we revalue the total inventory of last year, it will impact the 5 crore minus side. So now the current year everything is on the moving average side.
No, so what I'm asking sir कि अगर हम पहले वाला मेथड यूज कर रहे होते तो ये 11.2% का मार्जिन Q1 में आया, वो 11.2% ही होता या कम या ज्यादा होता?
अब वो तो देखो जब FIFO मेथड से करते तो करोड़ 2 करोड़ ऊपर या नीचे हो सकता था.
तो मटेरियल डिफरेंस
नहीं बस अभी देखिए पूरे साल का जब हमने रिकास्ट किया है तो सिर्फ 5 करोड़ का इम्पैक्ट आएगा लास्ट ईयर की बैलेंस शीट में.
राइट, ठीक है. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press *1 to ask a question. Participants, to ask a question, you may press * and 1 now. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press * and 1 at this time. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for for this interactive session for our Q1 result. And we have taken whatever from this conversation, the inputs from our investor associates, and will definitely, whatever we have guided, we will definitely try to do better than the guidance. We have always done that. We always speak less and be conservative in our guidance, but always proved better. So if still you have any further questions, you may reach out to us through telephone or email, and we'll be glad to answer. And I'm again repeating that we are very positive about our outlook of our business growth in this year as well as coming forward in the coming years, because of our penetration in the market, our product mix, and our positioning with the customers. So we will give good performance of the company to all our stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of KEI Industries and Monarch Networth Capital Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.